Hello, good afternoon. How are you all doing today? I'm sorry. I'm doing absolutely great. The weather is absolutely not cold, and I'm not uh, very uncomfortable with the weather. uh, okay, so as you can probably go by the name, uh, yes, we're doing another one of these. Why? Because we can do two things at once, but also keep up with, hanging out with you guys. So, what's going on? How you guys doing? Everything all right? You have a good day? Make sure to do your homework, eat your Wheaties in the morning. Does anyone even know where to get Wheaties anymore? I've I haven't seen them in a while in like the supermarkets at all. If you can tell me where you find Wheaties, let me know. Come on, I haven't had Wheaties in forever, forevers and evers. Okay, so let's get on to our first topic. Cyberpunk 2077, put out by CD Projekt Red. Uh, I think what was it, last December, right? I completely forgot. It feels like so long ago that this thing actually happened, but it's actually very, very recent. So, yeah, Cyberpunk. If you hear any noises in the background, completely ignore them. I am doing absolutely nothing else besides talking to you guys. Nothing at all. Nothing to be suspicious about. Whew. So, ah, yeah, sorry. Uh, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, the game that was gonna win all the awards, the game that was gonna, I don't know, break the internet or whatever. Well, we all know how that one turned out. I, that was a bit of a disappointment. I was kind of hoping for something better, but unfortunately, they did not deliver. CD Projekt Red, shame on you. You got a slap on the hand. Okay, that slap was meant for you, not for me. Just, you know, go with the flow, all right? So yes. Infamy is the only thing that comes up to this. Infamy is the only thing that I can think of when I think of Cyberpunk. Let's start off with that 45-minute gameplay trailer, right? Now that was a game I wanted to play. The graphics were a lot better, but I was kind of expecting graphics to be dimmed down just a bit because graphics are always like that whenever they show one of these E3 games or something. They always just kind of, have those E3 level graphics where, it's going to look absolutely amazing and everything. But when you actually get the game, it's slightly dimmed down and everything. Well, that I can forgive because that I was like already expecting because there's no game on earth that's ever put out an E3 gameplay trailer and that ever came out to look exactly as good on when the game actually releases. So for that one, I'm willing to not really forgive, but because whoever started this trend already was a complete idiot for doing it in the first place, for subverting expectations and duping people into buying something that they thought was going to be a lot prettier and everything. So to you, whoever started that, screw you. If you can't tell, I'm doing absolutely nothing because I don't know how to make any gestures with my hands as an insult. Uh, yeah, that was completely expected. It wasn't exactly like a curveball or something. But you know what was a curveball? The game crashing so much. Jeebus. I haven't seen a crash this bad since. Well, I'm not gonna make that one either. Yeah. Yes. Bad thoughts. Naughty, bad. But of course, I'm not gonna act on it whatsoever. So yes, let's go over with the pros of Cyberpunk because those are significantly less than the cons out there. So the pros, well, uh, well, the story was good at least. It wasn't exactly like Johnny McInsert stuff here at a convenience type of story. It's more like building up with the correct elements to actually, have the effect of the story without trying to do this All right, here I'm talking junk on The Last of Us, like the way The Last of Us does, where they expect you to feel bad, and for feeling bad for you to be absolutely in love with the game. That's my gripe with The Last of Us. Yes, please ignore the screen shaking. No, there's not a thing. All right. So yes, I am complimenting CD Projekt Red on their efforts for being able to make a cohesive story that really did explain everything and didn't exactly leave any loose ends to be left either unfinished or uh just lazy writing is what I'm trying to get at. So for that and actually making a good decent story and not complete garbage, I can give a thumbs up on that one. Sorry, just chewing something. Ah, okay, I've swallowed it. Uh, I also do like the soundtrack, and okay, here's the one complaint so far. But it's like a more general thing and not just a single pointing at CD Projekt Red kind of deal. The whole problem I have is copyright because it's not like people when they play video games are intentionally having these songs in the video game and trying to make money off of the song itself. It's the people just playing the video games, there happens to be a song out there. And if anything, shouldn't these I know the major offenders like Warner Music Group or Universal Music Group, one of the two, or Sony Music Group. I think those were the big three offenders. Because if you get like even a little bit of their song like in your gameplay because the games use songs from outside media and everything, then they're gonna like hunt you down and make sure that stream's like completely pacified. Like my Mafia 3 stream actually almost went. It was blocked everywhere because of a song that played for no more than a minute and 30 seconds. And the entire 3-hour stream was temporarily blocked until I finally got that song removed off of the video. So it's stuff like that that really irks me. And Cyberpunk also falls in the same goddamn pit trap of having to actually, video game makers actually being conscious of making a streamer mode that doesn't play copyrighted songs. It's just completely ridiculous and out of control, and I really frown upon it in general. Well, that's enough about that. So the music overall in Cyberpunk is pretty good. I don't know about feeling Cyberpunk music like that it had that kind of vibe or anything, but I think it was just good music in general, and music's always an important part of anything. Like, take the movie Glory, for instance. At the end of the film, when they're charging and everything, and they had that one really nice kind of like Last Hurrah type of song playing, you know? And then, it really does kind of dig into the emotion of, Last Hurrah, a final last ditch effort and everything. Without music, a lot of media ends up becoming boring in general. Like, well, anything. Music just kind of adds a layer of emotion to things that we never actually really thought about. And if you watch those same things without the music in it, it feels soulless. Like, take Sunset Overdrive, the video game that was like one of the big games they tried pushing out for the Xbox One when it first came out. Sunset Overdrive, great game, great music, and it really does kind of fit in with that whole punk grinding on, power lines and telephone lines and everything. Just that whole traversal type vibe, along with the main character, which is you, the hero. It's kind of like upbeat attitude and snarky kind of semi. And then the first time I actually saw the game, I watched somebody play it, and halfway through the game, they ended up, turning off the music because they were so concerned about this whole copyright thing and getting their videos taken down because of it, or not their videos getting taken down, but not generating revenue or whatever. I couldn't give more of a damn about revenue right now. I'm not even partnered or whatever, so I could do whatever I want, say whatever I want for now. But either way, back to the main point is that he played the second half of this video game without any music, and there's this one mission where you're supposed to organize a rock show for these kids in the hospital, and with no music playing, it's just weird. It's completely soulless and eerily dead silence and stuff. It's just it ain't right for all this copyright stuff to be hanging over everybody's heads like a dark cloud, like the little black rain crowd from Winnie the Pooh that keeps chasing him. Uh, yeah. So either way, getting back to Cyberpunk because I always get way too off track and stuff. So yeah, music in general, Cyberpunk, good. Story, good. I think that's pretty much all the positives I have to say. Oh yeah, voice acting is always great. Or it was great for Cyberpunk. Hearing Keanu Reeves did kind of, I don't know, break the immersion because it's someone I know, or I mean someone I know of. It's like, oh, that's the guy from The Matrix, the guy from Speed, John Wick, and all that. So hearing something like that just pop up in the video game kind of really breaks the illusion, fantasy, and stuff. It's like watching all these Tom Cruise movies. He's a good, I wouldn't say a good actor, really. Because he's always just kind of the same exact dude in every single movie. This kind of hot shot, semi jokey manner and everything. And seeing him in every single movie, just I can't think of him as agents. God, what's his name? Mission Impossible. Mission Impossible. Name. Ethan Hunt. There we go. I can't think of Ethan Hunt or his character in the movie. Shoot, why am I forgetting all his movies? Night and Day and everything. I only see Tom Cruise. I don't see these guys. It's always just Tom Cruise in general. Because he plays exactly the same person in every film. And it's kind of the same thing that translates over to Cyberpunk, because I can't see, uh, Keanu Reeves as this great rocker boy that's gonna, borderline terrorist and everything. I just see Johnny Silverhand as Keanu Reeves. I don't see him as anyone else. So maybe getting star power isn't necessarily the answer to every single problem in the world for, trying to attract attention or anything. Like the movie MFKZ, which I had previously praised, I still praise it to this day. Uh, I only came across it because there were fight scenes on YouTube, so I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool and everything." It wasn't that they didn't even really show off the star power, which is sorry, which is Danny Trejo. He's like the villain in the movie and everything. They never mentioned any of that, so it wasn't until the credits rolled that I finally realized, oh my god, Danny Trejo was in this. It's that kind of stuff that keeps me immersed in the video game world and everything, instead of being like, pulled out and realizing that voice is this person and that and everything. Now, gameplay. Jesus, in a handbag. I've never felt a sword fight feel so clunky. Jeez. Yes, I made a sword build in Cyberpunk because I wanted to be like, just going around decapitating and, limbs flying off and everything like Uma Thurma from Kill Bill type style. But it's just so clunky. It feels robotic. If it doesn't feel like I'm in a human body, dashing around with the sword, jumping over, tables to get to another guy or anything. It just feels like I'm a robot. The sword fights weren't entertaining at all. I just did it because I just kept going with it because that's what I set out to do, and I just went through with it. But yeah, even gun gameplay just isn't anywhere fun. Because I think they tried advertising kind of like Borderlands 3 does, where they say, oh, there's a bunch of guns, to find, but it's the same exact gun, just slightly modified for each one. Like it has a different mod or something like that. It's different levels and everything. Some guns weren't exactly, great. The only gun I did like was, I think it was called like the Comrade's Hammer or something, because the thing like did a buttload of damage. Like one headshot and you pretty much get like anyone, pretty much eliminate any enemy in the game. So yeah, that was a big letdown for gameplay. And NPCs and just the world in general is generally, it's all devoid of life. It's advertised, Night City, City of Dreams, see all these people, do all these things, go into the bar. But, you get to Night City, and there's not exactly a lot of people on the streets. It doesn't feel alive. They just feel like, what's the word? Stand-ins or something like that. Just extras in the background that do nothing at all. And it doesn't exactly help when you have two of the exact same person walking side by side right next to each other. Like I said, it kind of breaks the immersion. Like there's a mission where you have to fist fight two brothers that are linked as one person now. No, that doesn't break it necessarily at all, because they give a reason for it and everything. But when you see two dudes walking down the opposite ends of the street and they're exactly the same person, that's where I got the issue. And cars and everything, just I don't know who designed it, but they were awful with it. God, so many of the cars just look like average run of the mill cars, which I kind of expect, because the high end cars are supposed to be in the high end areas, but the high end area just has these cars that look pretty much exactly the same, so there's no variation in between. So everything ends up just being one giant cluster of everything and monotony and everything. When you watch the trailers for the game, they say like, oh, this area is the playground for the rich, the powerful, and everything. But you get there, and it's the exact same people. Maybe just, slightly better, well dressed or something, but it still feels the same. And when you have a freeway, if there's a freeway, you look at it from like a far away, and they show a bunch of cars moving and everything like that. So it looks like a real freeway. And you end up driving to get up close to see, and there's like one car there. So yeah, and I know they tried making some half-assed apology about like, oh, sorry that it didn't work the way it was supposed to on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Sorry, but the PC did well. You were supposed to make it good all across the board, because you have all these platforms that you released it on. But try and make an excuses like stuff like that, your street cred's going way down. I think that's enough complaining about Cyberpunk in general. Because I'm not even gonna get into the whole short summary. The 45 gameplay trailer they revealed, the guy consistently says things may be subject to change between now and release. But like, holy, it's like you guys downgraded or something. Because there's so many aspects and things that I was so intrigued in doing, like a branching story path where you make a decision and it really has a impact on on you later. But that's just something that never actually happened. You could do every mission, choose the worst possible outcome, and nothing changes. It's the same continuous, monotonous storyline. The main story, good writing. Side missions, whoever the hell wrote them, you're trash. You hear me? You're trash. And I don't know why you got it in your head to shorten the game. The main campaign isn't really that long. You can blaze through it pretty damn easily. I never actually finished the damn game because there was a glitch. Oh yeah, the glitches, glitches. Jesus, I haven't played the game in like a month, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish the damn thing because I'm stuck on a mission where I'm supposed to ride with Pan Am to go do something, and well, I'm following Pan Am, and all of a sudden she just sinks into the ground like a sack, like a bag of rocks, and the mission can't continue because there's no one to drive her car. So it's just like stuff like this, and they kept putting it on delay, and it's always like, oh, we're just aiming to make it better, but they really didn't do anything. You should have announced the game when it was ready to actually come out, because all you did was you got yourself stuck in this whole perpetual state of having to appease everybody, your stock, the people that invest in you and everything, and the gamers just by saying that you're going to release something, people have expectations for the game to release semi soon. So I think you just kind of shot yourself in the foot on that one. This is no way a diss to Mike Pondsmith, the creator, because I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job with making the world of Cyberpunk in general. But it's just CD Projekt Red doing so many things wrong that just blew up in their face. So that's enough about Cyberpunk for good for now. So Borderlands. Jesus, Borderlands. What the hell have you become? Well, let's start off with the live action movie they're doing right now. I'm pretty sure it's live action. Borderlands is known for its kind of like odd humor and everything. But when you make something so garbage, like who made the executive decision to cast Kevin Hart as, Roland, the hero? Someone whose death and number two majorly impacted the story, had a great impact on every single character in Borderlands that was, an ally like Brick or Mordecai or Tiny Tina and stuff like that. I understand, humor and everything being funny, and maybe they thought it'd be funny to cast someone short to play someone, like Roland, who's supposed to be, like hella tall, kind of, pretty much. But, you're kind of like turning off the fans that actually, play and like the game and everything. I know they're changing the story. Like, it's always good to never stick 100% to source material, because otherwise people are gonna analyze you like word for word or thing by thing and everything. But you still have to have some kind of loyalty back to the material, the original source. So this whole Roland thing is just whack. I don't know if it's because I personally am kind of, because I keep seeing Kevin Hart in all these damn things, and it's just like that same fatigue, like I was talking about earlier of Keanu Reeves, where you see them everywhere and you can't think of them as anything else besides that certain type of character. Like Kevin Hart, I can never see him as anything more than just, this kind of weird, semi quirky comedian that always has the same kind of jokes and everything. So yeah, that. And I think the guy who's directing the movie is someone who doesn't exactly have the best rep in general. Borderlands movie. What I director Eli Roth. Isn't this the guy that did oh, what was the damn thing called? Sorry. Yeah, Cabin Fever. Jeebus. Uh, I don't know who. I mean, the first one was good, but like Jesus, you had so many that it was just it's the same exact thing over and over again. He made that movie Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves. I did not enjoy the movie. Maybe it's because I don't agree with any of the morality or anything. Uh, he was in. He made the Hostel series or something. It was okay, mediocre, and they just got worse and worse as it kept going on. Piranha 3D trash. The original was better. Uh, oh, the house with the clock. Wait, sorry. The house with the clock in its walls. It tried doing something different, which isn't necessarily. Well, it isn't bad at all, but it just wasn't a very good movie in general. Like, I think it just tried being too odd and everything, playing into the whole weirdness, which, isn't bad, but you have to do it right. People always say that dramas always like getting awards and everything, and comedy gets taken a dump on. I'm like I'm kind of suggesting taking comedy slightly seriously. At least know what you're doing. Comedy is a lot harder than doing dramas because drama just relies on this whole pure emotion thing where they show you things and you're like, oh, that's sad, or oh, that's bad and everything. It's this whole emotional kind of like manipulation and everything. So you end up thinking that, it's this great piece or something. But comedy is just a lot harder to do because not everyone's going to get the humor. It's kind of, like the humor of, what's the movie? The movie with Jim Carrey where he thinks he's on a television show. Um, uh, the Truman Show. Stuff like that. It does its humor well, but it's a good blend of comedy and drama where the comedy is something where you kind of have to find the humor in it, and you realize, oh, that's kind of funny and stuff. Ah, I'm getting significantly off track again. But yeah, I know they're making Tiny Tina the daughter of I think it's like Atlas's CEO, whoever it is. I don't think they're sticking with the lore on who the CEO is anymore, or for the film at least. But I don't know if they're gonna even be able to turn Tina into the whole demolition expert that everyone loves from the video games and translate that to it's probably gonna come up as weird and not like in the good kind of way. It's probably just gonna be shoehorned in there and stuff. So yes, I do got a problem with the film. Now, as for the video game, Borderlands 2, awesome, amazing. I never got to play Borderlands 1. Borderlands 2 was like my lifeblood during my schooling days, my pre-schooling days. Not preschool, not preschool, not to get it jumbled up, but I just mean like grade school. That's the name for it. Borderlands 2 is what got me through grade school. I played all the DLCs and add-ons and everything. I absolutely adored the game to death. I think the writing was great. It did its good share of both drama and comedy and its whole quirkiness, that unique Borderlands quirkiness and everything. And then they had the great idea to release some game that was completely garbage, and I'm not even gonna bother to waste the energy to look it up. I think they were like trying to advertise it as like an Overwatch competitor or something like that. But it fell completely short. Nothing about it was gonna compete with Overwatch. It's like what they did, with Lawbreakers and everything, where they were gonna say like, "Oh, this thing it's gonna be an Overwatch killer and everything," but it had nothing special to it. Nothing like the way Overwatch did. I'm not trying to say Overwatch is a great game because I kind of hate the game too. I, Look, when you lose 6 games in a row, it kind of does a number on you. So, Borderlands, the video game. Great. Number 2, loved it. The characters and everything, great. And, yes, the dark years where they put out a video game that was pretty mediocre in general.
And then came even darker days. Someone had the great idea to mess up Borderlands with Borderlands 3. I was looking forward to Borderlands 3. All my friends were, and we all got it when it released. Like the day it launched, we were ready. We were ready to play and, try to grind for, the best guns and level ourselves up, make good builds and everything. But, oh, Jesus. It was so horrible. The writing was atrocious, and Handsome Jack was a great villain from number two. He was great, likable, and at some part you could actually relate to the guy, or you could sympathize with him on some level. But the villains for number three, the Calypso twins, completely forgettable. The only reason I'm gonna forget it, I'm gonna remember them, is because they were so bad. They were nothing more than just like, I don't know. It felt like your modern day TikTok stars who got amped up on God, I'm tripping over myself. They just got jumped up on space witch magic and everything. That was their whole thing, and it just wasn't that good at all. They weren't likable. I mean, they're villains. They're not really supposed to be likable, but your villains are supposed to be respectable in some degree. They're supposed to be a real threat, but with these two, with their whole kind of like, hey, this is the God Queen live streaming and everything, it just, I don't know, it just came off as rather obnoxious and everything. Oh God! And then there was my whole issue with kind of how they downgraded the writing for Lilith. Lilith number two. Now she wasn't the best character in number two. I give that one to Roland. But she wasn't like horrible either. You know, she did her fair share in fights and everything. And yeah, all that just completely gone with number three. And it's all just her kind of being mopey about losing her powers. Oh yeah, and they made the most annoying character even worse than Claptrap. Inadvertently, Ava. This little girl that was like under the wing of Maya from Borderlands 2, and she ends up getting Maya killed because she decided to run in like an idiot at the Calypso twins despite not having any siren powers. And then at the end, after one of the Calypso twins dies, she ends up getting, the powers which was expected, but to someone that annoying, it's like it's a real disservice to Maya's character. And with Lilith just being so clipped, like her wings metaphorically clipped and everything. She was just flopping around like a fish. And I don't know, it just didn't really do anything at all for me. Character just it was a step back. Now, yes, main story trash. How about the gameplay? Gameplay pretty good, except when it released. By God, it was horrible. My friends all loaded up the game, joined my game to advance through the story and everything together, and all of a sudden, like God when he decided to wipe the earth clean. You know what? This one doesn't actually work. This metaphor is not good for it. Restart. It was atrocious. It was a bunch of glitches and everything. Like every time you tried opening your inventory, oh my God, it took like maybe 30 seconds. And this is a PlayStation 4, your average PlayStation 4. Like 30 seconds for the damn thing to actually load. And going to vending machines might have actually taken the full entire minute. Like no one optimized this game when before it came out. You know, I'm fine with people pushing back release dates as long as what they deliver at the end is good. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, they delayed it a couple times, and when the game came out, it was amazing, great. No, I never encountered any glitches. The story was great, combat was smooth and everything. Square Enix hit the nail on the head with this one. It was just perfect in every single way. It never crashed. It never had a giant lag spike or great loading times or anything. It just did it awesome. And when you have Borderlands 3 that came out, I think it was like the year before, last year, so 2019, I think it was. It was just so painful to get through the actual main story because of how, you know, unoptimized and laggy the game was, taking forever to load, just a simple inventory that sometimes it take less time to travel to another map and load that area in than it did to open your inventory. Now, going forward, like up to date right now, they've completely fixed it, and I actually enjoy the game very much for the gameplay. So, what I am complaining about right then was just more about, you know, when it released. It's just something that they should have taken care of, and it's something that I'm not gonna forget. I can't forget when it took forever just to buy ammo from a vending machine or sell guns to the vending machine in general. Now, let's get into the DLCs because the main story is just trash overall. That's my hypothesis on it. My summary. So, getting into the DLC stories, like the first one that came out was Guns, Love, and Tentacles, I believe. Now, I say this for every single DLC that they put out so far have been absolutely phenomenal. The writing, I think they actually changed the lead writer, and whoever's writing it right now, I give my two thumbs up to you. A round of applause, everybody, because the DLCs are very enjoyable. The story is great. It goes back to the original Borderlands 2 formula, being both, you know, quirky humor and everything, and also just funny in general, but also taking part serious where it did need to take it seriously. And yeah, now the gameplay is actually smooth. Well, lag is very, very small, like maybe a second or 2 seconds or something when you open inventory and stuff. So it's not really as much of a hassle as it was when it was like 30 seconds. Holy, I'm never forgetting the experience of going through that Borderlands 3 lag initially. And my friends all just saying, I think my game's glitched. I think mine is too. Mine too. I opened. Did we all open our inventories? Yeah. I think that's the problem. Now, it never crashed, but it's just something that was so damn annoying that it almost turned me off from the game. But I'm glad I stuck around with it because they've improved it. And like I said, all the added on content, stories, Guns, Love, Tentacles, the cowboy one, Krieg's, fractured mind, everything. It's all been great so far. And I'm really looking forward to, well, kind of semi. Looking forward, I'm interested in seeing the next DLC that release. But I did hear that it was with the surrounding the Ava character that I mentioned. That's really, really annoying. So I'm kind of not looking forward to it at the same time. Ah, man, they better. It has to be like one really, really damn good redemption arc if they want to try salvaging the character. Because right now it's just kind of like beyond redeemable. Like hit that exterminatus button from the high fleet gothic and everything, and just blow it all to oblivion because she's very very unlikable right now. How far are we into this? We're like 38 minutes. Okay. Well. Uh, they still haven't announced anything. Second wave of incoming DLC. Sorry. Or Borderlands 2, even though my friends and I have already got the next season pass. It's because they also included another skill tree. And I play Zane, which is the funny Irish assassin. I really like him. He's great. Uh, but my issue is that they have this kind of shoulder cannon that he has, and if you play your abilities right, you can essentially have that thing up forever and fire for eternity. And well, sometimes for whatever reason it just decides to freeze. Like for whatever reason it decides to be no longer operational. And this really just irks me in general because it's sorry, it's just I'm hearing a squeaking. Hmm. Maybe it's a bird or something like that. I'm not sure. Either way, back to the main topic at hand. I tried firing it as fast as I can because I've modified my abilities to be like that. And then all of a sudden, the cannon just stops working all of a sudden. So, kind of just that whole back to the bugs and everything. And I talked about it on Twitter and because on one of their things, and then someone said, maybe not fire it as fast as possible. And I was like, hey, I paid for the game, I paid for this ability. If I want to fire it as fast as I want, as fast as I can pull my finger, and god damn it, I'm gonna do it. Moving on to the last couple of topics today. Literature and Rome. Currently, I'm reading Candide, which is a short story by Voltaire. I don't remember the when it came out, but I know it wasn't like ancient times, not BC times. It was more of AC times. Wait, no, 2080. Sorry, I was just thinking about AC/DC for whatever reason. There we go. Yeah, it's raining outside and it's cold, and I have the heater on for the house. I don't like the cold. I've reiterated this a lot. All right. Either way, back to the task at hand. Candide. I mean, it's not that bad. I can definitely sit through and read it. It's not something I'm gonna reread ever again in my life, but I can appreciate it for what it's worth. I think I just heard thunder. Yes. Roll of thunder, hear my cry. Uh, Now, which one's the one? The Sound of Thunder. That's the one about the time machine. I really like that one. It's a very, very short story in general, but I just kind of like the way the endings kind of, up in the air. And they made a video game on the Game Boy Advanced, which you can emulate from your phone now. Your phone is strong enough to be a Game Boy now. It's absolutely great and funny. So I can relive all of my childhood memories and everything, and play all the games that I never got to. Uh, but either way, back to Candide. And I sure do go off topic a lot, don't I? Absolutely. Yeah, I do. So Candide. The whole thing with Candide is that it's kind of like this weird comedy about life, the perception of life in general or something. Because Candide has this teacher. I can't remember his name, but the whole thing is that his teacher's kind of like a hella optimist. Like the guy never sees anything bad as bad. Like there's this whole conversation they have about getting cocoa, from like South America and everything. And it's this whole thing. He goes a list like, oh, we have cocoa, but it became from like this whole line of people doing sexual intercourse and contracting this virus from over there and bringing it and spreading it around. So now it's a kind of semi-viral disease. But you know what? It was all for the better because we all got cocoa in the end, right? So now we can all have cocoa, chocolate, and everything like this. So yeah, the whole thing is Candide is brought up with this mindset of everything's done for a purpose that comes out to a benefit at the end of it all. But eventually, Candide ends up making out with this one girl he likes. She has a really, really funny name too, but let me look it up. Candide love interest. Candide love interest. Uh oh my god, I forgot how how to pronounce this damn thing. Oh, Kunigunda. Kunigunda. Damn. Kunigunda. Kunigunda. Yeah, so he ends up going to like this baron's house and everything in order to learn and educate and everything at the beginning of the book, and then he falls in love with Kunigunda, and makes out with her, and then the baron finds out and throws him out. And yeah, it's kind of the story kind of has this kind of weird Looney Tune humor where characters may experience like something that would normally kill somebody, like Candide's teacher. I think it's his teacher. Later recounts about him being hanged, but through some miracle he ended up living. And then Kunikunda is like it's told to Candide later in the story that Kunikunda was killed in an attack from an enemy and everything. And later on, Candide finds out that Kunikunda's all right, and it's like, oh, cool. Yeah, all this kind of bad stuff happened. I'm speaking from Kunikunda's perspective, and she's like, yeah, there was this whole, murder and everything, but killing. It's war and everything. It's to be expected, but I'm okay. I'm all right. I remember there's another character that ends up like that's supposed to bite the dust, but like they don't for some reason. I can't remember, and it's they get out of it through some really BS kind of like luck that would never ever happen in real life kind of shit situation. Ah. So yeah, the whole thing is Candide ends up going on and eventually meets this other dude who's just a complete pessimist, the opposite of his teacher, and all he can see is the negative in everything. Like everything is just always going to be bad, no matter how good you think it is. Every single fate's going to be bad. And then, yeah, Candide doesn't accept this guy, and he thinks he's full of it. But eventually, starts kind of having like doubts about the way his teacher taught him to think everything was always for the positive and everything, that nothing could ever go completely wrong. But eventually, he meets this other guy because the whole thing with Kunikunda and her barren father, the whole assault and everything on the kingdom and or her castle or whatever, is that it's like an uprising. So this other guy who was a baron is he's both the professor or no, he's just he's the third opinion, the third option. It's like playing Fire Emblem Fates. You choose either to go with Hoshido, your OG family, the family you were stolen from, help defend, or you end up staying with. Let me look it up because I don't want to get it wrong because I like the game. Fates Kingdoms. Fire Emblem Fates Kingdoms. Hoshido and Nor. There we go. Nor. Or you end up sticking with the family that raised you in Nor and everything. And then there's that middle path that's kind of, that good straight center line that, walks on the walks on the line on both. Where everything, but for me personally, is the best path and option. Because this third guy walks that path. And he's like, nothing's perfect in the world. Not everything always comes out to being good and everything. And not everything comes out to being bad. You have to take the whole world and existence on a case by case basis and everything. Not everything's great, not everything's complete, garbage and everything. You have to take each case by case and look at it, which each perspective. And if anything, you can look at each perspective with, both being good and bad, a hybrid of the two. Oh god, I need water. But we're gonna end this kind of soon because I do have something else aged to after this. Yes, I'm always busy. Yes, busy, 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 busy. But I always find and make time to hang out with you guys because you guys are pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So by the end of the story, Candide kind of, or his love interest Kunigunda ends up becoming this kind of because I think they're both 17 when they first meet and make out and everything, and then it's like years later and like she's not as curvaceous or pretty as she used to be, but Candide still goes with her because he's kind of like oath bound, like he thinks he's a respectable gentleman and it's the honorable thing, to do to, marry her and everything and have a life with her because he promised all of that when they were younger and everything, when he was infatuated with her. But it's not exactly a love story either because I wouldn't even necessarily say that Candide does, you know, uh, when Candide first learns that Kunikunda is quote unquote deceased, the first thing he thinks of is, oh, she must have gone because of her despair of of me passing or me being kicked out or something, loneliness or something like that. So it's kind of like hinted that Candide isn't exactly great either. That he's kind of ass himself, like he thinks so high of himself that he's the center of everyone's world, that he's the sun and everyone around him is a planet that revolves around him. Sorry, there's something to ease the throat. Better. So yeah, the whole thing I think Voltaire was trying to aim for with this comedy is the different perceptions, like just kind of humorizing, looking at every single event as being a positive, like oh, I got stabbed and I got my purse stolen, but overall general happiness has gone up because now some guy out there has my purse of money and he's gonna go spend it and do whatever and be happy. Against stuff like oh my god, the sun's shining, uh, the sun's shining, life continues. Oh, what a total drag, something like that. And then there's the middle path, which is just like, oh, I think the middle path is what Voltaire is initially trying to get us all to see, that nothing is like great, nothing's perfect, nothing's in a complete state of disarray and negativity and everything. Nothing's black or white. It's this kind of moral gray, this kind of gray area, and that's kind of how we should be looking at stuff. Not with rose tinted glasses, not with black glasses to paint everything black, but with some gray glasses. All right, one last topic. I'll see about how much we can get through for it anyway. Rome. What do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about slavery in Rome. Why, I don't know, but it's been itching my mind because I wanted to tell you about this one dude who's completely out of his mind. There was this one dude in Rome. He was around at the time of Julius Caesar, the great Roman emperor, the one who was like the destined one and everything, and then he got stabbed and turned into a Caesar salad. Yeah, that Caesar. So either way, whole thing is that uh yeah, Julius Caesar has this friend who's like this great famous horse rider, like horse racer and everything. Great horse racer and everything. Like he's the best of the best. He's a noble too, and he owns slaves and everything. Roman slaves, which were like prisoners of war or criminals or people who couldn't pay their debts or something. Everything like that. All right. I think I'm no. Okay. No sneeze. Uh, yeah. So either way, this guy was like great, good friends with Julius Caesar. Or at least they were on friendly terms. Well, one day Julius goes and meets the guy in like his villa because he's rich. And then I think what happens is this one slave ends up tripping and like shatters some plates and cups and everything, or it ends up spilling on one of them or something like that. So this guy's like really really cruel and sadistic because oh god, it's horrible. Do you know what a lamprey is? I think it was a lamprey. Let me just make sure. Oh my god, yes, it was a goddamn lamprey. don't look it up. The thing's goddamn horrifying. Ah, I get the chills just looking at the damn thing. So either way, yeah, there's this, yeah, he has a pole full of lampreys, and apparently the dude was a complete psychopath. Because this guy, whenever a slave had, done something wrong, like defied him, or, screwed up something on accident, or, tried to rebel on purpose, he'd throw their asses in this pool of lampreys, and they just tear him to shreds alive. Ah, that's something I don't want to think about. Not with food in my belly. So if I want to keep it down. So either way, yeah, this guy's about to get this guy thrown, this one slave, thrown into a pool of lampreys to be torn to shreds, alive. But Caesar's this kind of good guy Caesar, and he steps in. He's like, "Yo, you're a complete nutcase. You're a psychopath," and he just stops the whole execution, and he ends up freeing the slave. I think most of the slaves that the guy owned on his estate and everything, just because he was like, Jesus, slaves aren't they're not to our level, but they're still human, and to do this is just completely cruel, and you're a complete idiot and everything. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up to kind of end this off. And there was this other lady who, or it was very common for Romans to have a slave that would act as their like kind of whipping person, their whipping slave. So like if like say there's this family, a mother, father, son, and two sons and a daughter, right? So say the two sons get into a fight and they accidentally bump and injure the younger sister. Well, the father's gonna punish them with like I don't know, no eating tonight or something. But they're also gonna probably have something where they're going to, you know, whip the slave instead of the children because the child's still nobility and everything, and there's kind of like laws against harming somebody of that stature. But a slave, go for it, man. Whoop him as hard and as long as you want. Leave as many scars as you want and everything. So yeah, that's kind of the whole shindig with that deal. Slaves really didn't have it that good in Rome. Like post Spartacus, Spartacus and his slave rebellion. Uh, what ended up happening because of that is anytime they suspected that like a slave, like if even a couple slaves, like two or one or something, were plotting to rebel and like set themselves free and everything, then based off of that suspicion alone, some people would go so far as to like there's this one account found on like an old diary. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, so they end up finding this account where this one guy ended up killing all 654 of his slaves. He had a lot because he was so scared of another Spartacus occurring that he ended up getting rid of his whole slave, workforce and everything. So yeah, I would not want to be a Roman slave at all. Of course, there were people that saw slaves as actual humans, but they never. It was kind of like this weird separation of seeing a slave as human, but they weren't exactly on your level as humans. So some people did treat their slaves well and everything, but at the end of the day, it was kind of pointless because they still saw slaves as slaves and everything. So they were still a little more than just workers, indentured workers and everything. Uh, Jesus, being slave, not very, very fun. And I know there were some cruel bastards out there that really did some, sadistic stuff to their slaves, aside from the guy I mentioned earlier, who used to let lampreys tear slaves apart and everything.
If I remember correctly, there was this one woman who, oh god, I forgot. I think she used to like basically taxidermy her slaves or something. Something around those lines of, you know, I think she like dissected one alive or something because she was curious about human anatomy. It's like, geez, lady, what the hell's wrong with you? And then, of course, there's always the sexual abuse and everything, which is to be expected. But just like some things just were so, off and everything. That was just, whole level of cruel and everything. And whoever did those kinds of stuff was definitely going straight down a Tartarus or whatever version of hell Romans believed in. Oh. All right, so unfortunately my time's up. I must be going now. Don't forget me. Woo! So, yeah, thanks for hanging around today. I know this was actually more well structured, kind of, than the last one we had. We actually got to some interesting topics, I think. And yeah, so I want to thank you for stopping by, whoever out there is listening. And yeah, I'll probably be back tomorrow with something. I don't know what exactly. Maybe we'll have another chit chat tomorrow. So, yes, thank you for stopping by. Stay frosty, and I'll see you. Actually, sorry. It's kind of cold out there, so stay toasty, and I'll see you on the other side of the day. I'm just kidding. I'm not one of those guys. Stay frosty or stay toasty, and I'll see you on the other side of the day. Have a good one, you guys.